Hey guys, it's Anthony Bandiero here with Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training, and I'm bringing you a roadside chat, but like a real roadside chat. Remember the old days before the Rona, and I would do these YouTube videos, and I would do them from the road, and then for like, I don't know, time flies when you're having fun, but like, has it been 4 months since I've done a real roadside chat? All of my roadside chats have been from studio in my home. So this is a roadside chat. I'm coming to you from Grand Island, Nebraska. Love teaching here. I've been here for teaching here for a few years. So here's the question. An officer asked me to help him explain to one of his rookies, right? He's training this guy, and to help explain the difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. It's a great question. It really is a legit great question, because even the courts struggle with defining the difference. There is no one definition that's in the legal dictionary. You know, there's for probable cause and so forth. There's a lot of different points of view on it, but I'm gonna take a stab at it. This is how I look at it, and this is how it helps me. So first of all, we gotta define a hunch. Every officer has a hunch, right? Officers will look at somebody, look at a situation, say, hey, something is up here, right? Those are hunches. They're unparticularized. They're like something on the back of your neck, the hair's going up, but you can't do anything with those. You can, actually the only thing you can do is a consensual encounter. Like, hey guy, can I talk to you for a second? And then maybe try to, follow the breadcrumbs and see if you get something more. But you can't detain somebody over a hunch. But you can with reasonable suspicion, and the difference is it's particularized. That means that the cop can put his finger on something particular about this guy, this environment, and say that something is up. And you have to also remember the goal of reasonable suspicion. The goal of reasonable suspicion is crime prevention, not crime apprehension. I mean, that's, you may apprehend somebody and you may determine that they are involved in criminal activity and apprehend them. I'm not saying that, but your goal is to prevent, usually major crimes from happening in the first place. And the reason why that's important is because reasonable suspicion, by very definition, is that you're looking at something and no crime has necessarily occurred. Think about Terry versus Ohio. Officer Martin McFadden, 38 years on the job with Cleveland PD. He knows a thing or two about crime, and he sees Terry and his friends going back and forth in front of that Zucker's department store. Well, going back and forth in front of a store several times is not a crime. That's called aggressive window shopping in my family, right? But Martin is no fool, okay? There's other things going on. He's talking to people on the corner. They then go in front of the window and they look, and then they meet up again, and one takes off to another corner, like maybe going on the other side of the store. So this is not aggressive window shopping. This is a setup for an armed robbery. And he was right? I mean, ultimately, Terry got convicted of concealed weapon charges. He didn't get convicted of attempted armed robbery because there wasn't enough there for the attempt part. But Martin McFadden prevented an armed robbery from occurring that day. That's Terry versus Ohio. That's the purpose of reasonable suspicion. So to kind of wrap up reasonable suspicion, do you have something particular, right? Some facts and circumstances to lead you to believe that this person right now is engaged in something that is some kind of criminal activity, right? Yet what you're seeing is not necessarily a crime, right? If it was, that we would call that probable cause. Let me give you an example. An officer is patrolling at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and this area of town has a lot of graffiti issues. Maybe it's recent, maybe it's long-term, whatever. He sees this guy walking down the street, kind of like looking around. He sees the cop in a marked unit and takes immediate next right. Okay, people have the right to avoid police officer. That's a hunch. That's not reasonable suspicion. So the cop then follows the guy, and then he goes into the alleyway, and he also notices that the guy has something in his pocket the size of a paint can, right? A rattle can. And you probably have enough, probably, if you can, especially, you're confident in your articulation and describing the whole environment, to detain that guy temporarily, find out if he is getting ready to tag something, right? The evasiveness, the underlying criminal activity in that area, and his object that appears to be a rattle can, and that's kind of odd. I mean, that's a big object in somebody's pocket. So that's what you want, not just, so if you stop them at the point of evasiveness, you lose. And if you stop at the point of when you put all these pieces together, you probably have enough for reasonable suspicion. Now we move into probable cause. Probable cause are facts and circumstances to lead a reasonable officer to believe that a crime has been committed and the person that you arrested has likely committed it. Not a super high standard. It's not, when I ask cops, how much certainty do you need for probable cause? Sometimes I get 70, 80%. That's not accurate. That standard is way too high. In fact, that's pushing into the realm of beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's a much lower standard. Where it is exactly, it's around that 50% mark, probably lower than 50%, right? Probably lower, even though you're probably taught it's higher, but push comes to shove, per the case law, it's probably lower. But the point is, it's not it's not high, but you just have to describe why you think this person has committed a crime. I hope that helps. These are supposed to be short videos, so I want to keep it short. I want to end it off there. Move the ball forward just maybe even an inch. That'll work for me. That's what the purpose of these videos are. Keep the questions coming. Again, I'm super happy to be back on the road. Next week, I'm going back to Nebraska, and then a week after that, Chicago, and it goes on from there. If you want me or my fellow instructors to teach your agency or to come out and you want to host our training, give us a call. Email us, bluetogold.com. Until next time, stay safe.
When it comes to legal training, we're the gold standard. Visit bluetogold.com or call 888-579-7796 today to purchase the Search and Seizure Survival Guide, register for a class, or learn how to bring our search and seizure training to your agency.